A new Charleston County Council is coming in, and behind them is a lot of issues affecting the Charleston County area, from 526 to the Naval Hospital to road projects. I speak exclusively with Charleston County Council's Vice Chairman, Brantley Moody, for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Brantley Moody, welcome back to the award-winning Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you very much, Quintin. Merry Christmas to you. I look forward to visiting as always.
Likewise. Obviously, you're the Vice Chairman of Charleston County Council, and there's so much going on right now. Let me ask you just the obvious. Who is Brantley Moody right now?
Busy times. You know, I'm a banker in my real office time, and you never know there's a pandemic based on the workflow and activity we have at the bank. So that combined with a full county council slate has left me pretty busy. But as we talked about, it's Christmas time. The kids are home. It's time to enjoy time with them. Both of my kids go to school far away, so we're really treasuring this time with the kids and having the house full again.
And you talk about a slate at Charleston County Council. Obviously, you have two new members coming in, Rob Raymond and, of course, Dr. Kylo Militant, and his church is right around the corner here.
Right.
What do you expect from the new Charleston County Council?
Well, I expect them to come in and hopefully ready. They have been very active and they've been attending our meetings. As you know, our attorney, Joe Dawson, has got the promotion of a lifetime. So we've been having a lot of executive sessions, which they've taken a part in. They can't vote, but they have been able to sit in and listen. And so that's going to be one of the top priorities is finding a new county attorney. But both Eric and Reverend Middleton have both been at meetings, so they know sort of what the current agendas are, where things are in the process. So I expect them to come in ready to learn and ready to hit the ground running.
And what is the process right now as far as looking for this new county attorney?
So we have opened it up, or we did, I guess, about a month ago, and we have many. We're very blessed. We have many very qualified candidates that we are sort of working through the list right now. So beyond that, I would not want to speak because those are executive session items. So I'll just leave it at that for now. But I think council will be ready to move quickly when the calendar turns.
I know you can't speak about what's going on within the obviously decision hiring, but what qualifications are you all looking for?
Well, everybody's looking for Joe Dawson #2, and that just does not happen. Joe would admit to you that he as a county attorney, he did a lot of things internally where we've looked at other counties in the region and across the state, and a lot of those counties outsource a lot of their legal work. So I think you'll see more of that from the county attorney at Charleston County. So we're going to need somebody that can herd cats, really, to be honest with you, to manage a very good staff, to manage third-party contracts we've got with other law firms, to manage construction contracts that we have ongoing for projects around the county. So we're looking for, the RFP we put out, it was pretty self-explanatory. We're looking for Joe Dawson #2, but failing that, we're going to find the best we can.
And you talk about outsourcing that legal work. How much is that saving or costing the county?
Well, it depends. If you don't have to hire additional attorneys, if you don't have to pay benefits for additional attorneys, there's savings there versus doing that. If you don't have the county attorney staff that has expertise in areas that you may need to outsource, the liability of trying to get somebody up to speed to do something they may not be trained to do that you can outsource, you really can't put a number on that, Quintin, to tell you the truth.
Yes, sir. Let me turn to the obvious. You talk about those projects. Let me talk to you about 526. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this. Where is the money going to come from now that the county tax revenues reportedly have been taking a huge hit due to COVID? Well,
I don't know that's necessarily the case. We'll see kind of when we budgeted for zero from ATAX and other things, and we've gotten more than zero. The 2020 budget included about $8.5 million that we thought we would need to spend over this fiscal year. That's already there. I expect we would budget that same going forward. So we have not seen, none of the projects that we have ongoing have been impacted. The main in 17 is still going. Highway 41 is a very touchy subject, obviously with the Phillips community. So we're trying, I know the council members that represent that area are trying to figure out a compromise for everybody. Our Savannah highway capacity study rolls on. I mean, everything that we've started continues to move forward. In addition, the recycling center is open. That's different from 526, but other capital projects we have got going on continue to move forward. So I'm not concerned about in the least. Quintin, it's a project that's long overdue. Council remains committed to it. We're losing two members that were committed to it, but Dr. Middleton and Mr. Werman were both on the record as saying they support it. So I think we're still going to have strong support on council for 526.
You talk about compromise. Let me go to the Highway 41. I know that's not your district, but what should be the compromise with that issue?
Well, a sensitivity to the historic. There's a couple lines of thinking is that the development in outer Mount Pleasant, Dunes West, Park West, and all that area has caused the problem. So why should the Phillips community bear the brunt of that development? But then there's something to be said for a straight line too between 2 points. So honoring that Phillips community, getting them some of the bike and pedestrian access that they've wanted for a long time. Those things would come with the Highway 41 project. So trying to get them some of the assets that they need, being sensitive to them, but also getting traffic from A to B and accommodating those residents in up 41. It's a delicate balance. I know Chairman Sumby, Mr. Sass, and Mr. Schweers continue to work very closely. This is a quote part-time job, but those three gentlemen have really put in a lot of time the last 3 to 6 months trying to find that balance.
And you talk about the balance. What are those assets that you want for the Phillips community?
Well, as I said, there's a community center that was involved. That was part of the negotiations that we wanted to have. There's another neighborhood out there. I think it's called Holbrook or something like that. That they have to come out of their neighborhood and take a right to then make a U-turn to go north on 41. So that's a little quirky. But bike and pedestrian access, I mentioned that already. So making that area more livable for everyone without destroying the historic aspect of it is the balance. It's tough.
And when do you expect to have the bicycle pedestrian access for those people there in Phillips?
I don't have an answer to that. I mean, when that balance is struck between all the different parties, I think you'll see that come out. I mean, and hopefully for me, things move way too slowly for me on county council sometimes, but in the first quarter would be ideal for me. But I'd rather get it right than get it fast and get it wrong. So if it takes a little time to get it right, then I'm for that.
Now, who are the parties that are involved with this? I was, for lack of a better word, negotiations.
Well, you've got, Mount Pleasant Town Council is involved in that. Charleston County is involved in that. The Phillips community, obviously the advocacy groups for the neighborhoods out, Dunes West, Park West, and those areas out there. Those folks are at the table. So it's, those are the different parties that are involved.
Yes, sir. And let me get back to obviously money. What do tax revenues look like right now for amid COVID? That is, we get a monthly budget from or an update from our budget officers, and they have, it's about a 3-page report we get every month, and anybody can see it if they want. But every item we have is within or exceeding budget right now. And I know that's kind of a catch-all. It may not drill down as far as you want to, Quintin, but we could spend an hour going through that 3-page document. But every single, whether it's capital projects, TST, budgeting, anything that we've got is at or around budget. There are no concerns right now from a budgetary measure. Let me get back to 526. I know this might be another basic question, but let me ask you this: do we have a cost estimate yet for 526?
No, we have 39. There's 39 alternatives that were identified. The county has drilled down to 3 alternatives, and we are going through what's called the SEIS. That's environmental study. So we have to do that for all 3 of those projects. And my 526 team says we hope to have that by summer, early fall. Again, moving way too slowly for me, but at that point, once we have those environmental impact statements done for those 3 projects, we will roll those out to the public, and then we'll start to hopefully drill down to pricing later after that. And I might,
let me ask you this: what are those impacts that concern you the most environmentally?
I don't. It's from an environmental impact. I don't think anything, but it's just that those reports we had done in 2010 or 11, whenever they were done, were dated, so they have to be updated, and that's where we are in the process right now. But I can tell you this: my constituents, the support for 526 has never been stronger. You and I have talked about this many times. There's 25 to 30,000 cars a day at the Citadel Mall terminus area that do not have to be there, and whatever the project costs, I am absolutely committed to it, and my constituents are as well.
And this might be a redundant question, but does anyone have an idea how much you and the other council members have committed to the citizens of Charleston County to pay for this project?
Well, right now, just the number we have right now is the 305, I think was the number that we have committed. And then the CIV has committed that 420. So that's the project cost was the 725 that we were working off of. That was the last number.
And when will you get an update on that?
Well, as I said, after the environmental impact studies are done and the preferred alternatives are developed, then the pricing will come later after that. So it will still be some time.
Okay. And let me get back to another money question. How has this decline in revenue affected plans for spending on roads in particular?
On roads? No, we have not. Quintin, I don't have an update for you on that. I could tell you from a West Ashley standpoint, we have paved probably 85, and I'm talking about neighborhood roads. I'm not talking about big, Savannah highway capacity study type things, but we have paved about 85, maybe close to 100 roads this past year in West Ashley. Whether it's through CTC, transportation sales tax, different buckets of money, we have been able to get a lot of neighborhood roads paved or paid for this year. The paving will continue into the first and second quarters of next year. So as far as our neighborhood and community type roads, there's been no impact to that.
And I know you keep talking about the Savannah Highway Capacity Plan.
Yeah.
What exactly is that plan and why now?
So it's really it's a tough nut to crack, Quintin, because Savannah Highway is narrow and businesses are built up to the road. So where do you go without expanding? So I think where you're going to see that focus, there's a couple things that I'm pushing for. Number one is sort of intersection improvements. So maybe making turn lanes a little bit longer to help facilitate that. One thing I've asked our county staff that I know our bike and pedestrian community is very excited about is connecting the West Ashley Bikeway where it ends at Wapoo Road, coming across Wapoo and Savannah Highway and connecting it over to the West Ashley Greenway, whether you're widening sidewalks, but including that as well. There's also some of that portion that looks at intersections at Farmfield and looking at Avondale and things like that. If you notice Avondale, how those crosswalks were made and it was beautified, I'd like to see that further south on Highway 17. That's what I would like to see as part of the project too. But also whether it's helping with turn lanes, to just make the traffic move more smoothly. That's what it's working on.
And how long will this actually take?
It's undergoing right now. So there's we have not. If we have 5 to 6 different fixes, we will then take those to the community and get their impact for it, or get their opinion on those different projects that we may have in mind.
And those fixes, what have you heard from the community thus far?
Well, nothing. We're still early in the planning. So I mean, it's like I said, we've got to design the bikeway connecting to the greenway. We've got to look at designing turn lanes. If we can widen a right turn lane, we need to look at any kind of property acquisition from a landowner there. So all of those things are very early in the process.
And how many turn lanes are you looking at?
Well, if you think about when I say turn lane, I mean like a left-hand turn lane. So I'm thinking in Wapoo and 17, which is kind of a mess. Maybe doing masked arms, improve crosswalks, but also there's no real turn lane. It's just kind of a suicide lane where you might scooch off into there. So maybe define turn lanes that maybe help with the load capacity and those type of things. So more beautiful, more functional.
Oh, yes, sir. And let me turn to a location that I always look at when I'm on my running route. That is the old Naval Hospital.
Yes.
Charleston County Council agreed to sell the 10-story, 400,000 square foot building at Rivers and McMillan Avenue and the 23-acre property it sits upon for $15 million. And this is coming from David Slater, the Post and Courier. Previously, the county had considered spending $6 million to tear down the building. Numerous local and federal tax breaks are involved, and a portion of the purchase price could be refunded if one of the tax breaks, that is, falls due. How many local and federal tax breaks are there right now altogether?
Well, so believe it or not, that building has got some historic significance. So the purchaser, the developer, is working with the State Historic Preservation Office to get some what are called state historic tax credits. So we're expecting those to come through. But Quintin, I will tell you, the best possible scenario to a really crummy situation. We needed to get out of that property. Right across the street, the old Pine Haven Shopping Center, we had a ceremonial groundbreaking a couple of Fridays ago. When we left, the machine started. After lunch, there was no time. They started digging and moving dirt right away. So what that's going to allow us to do is get that social services hub built there. We'll have the bus, have another, the BRT terminal or stop will be right there next to the new library right there at Pine Haven. That's going to be a really impactful project in Mr. Darby's district that really needs it. He's excited about it. I know he wanted to make something happen with the old Naval Hospital, but I know deep down he's excited about the impact this whole thing could have on that area. But even more so, Quintin, when that property is up and operating, that's going to allow us to unload some really valuable real estate holdings that we have, especially downtown, that are maintenance nightmares. That are, the dirt is worth more than the crummy buildings that are sitting on top of them. So shrinking government, getting it more centralized in the central part of the county for the residents that need it the most. So a really lousy situation the county got itself in, but it's unfolding and we're unwinding it best we can.
And what are those real estate holdings?
Well, so you've got Charleston Center, which is the Deotis Drug Alcohol Treatment Center right there, Charleston, right there beside the new Sean Jenkins Center. We've got the Disabilities Building that sits at the near the corner of Rivers and Cosgrove. So if you know where the Carta stop is, there it's
right.
kind of diagonal behind it.
Right.
That's a 3-story antiquated building that needs to go. We've got some property downtown. We're working with the city of Charleston and the Laurel Island development that needs to go as well. So we've got a number of properties that we're trying to get moved along. And frankly, you get those properties sold, they're valuable properties. You get those properties back on the tax rolls as well. So we've got a couple balls up in the air that I think we'll hopefully see settle softly in this coming year and into 22.
Now, with the tax rolls, how would that look now that this Naval Hospital has been essentially sold?
Well, I don't have any idea what the tax impact is. I mean, you talk about 600 apartments that are going there. I mean, that's a huge tax. It goes from nothing to whatever it is. So it's I wouldn't even have an estimate of what the positive tax base would be to the county.
Let me reread a portion of the Post and Courier article again. It says this: numerous local and federal tax breaks are involved, and a portion of the purchase price could be refunded if one of the tax breaks fall due. Let me ask you this: what was the purchase price?
I'm going to hold off on answering that for now. If pending executive session stuff, I would probably want to speak with the county attorney before getting too deeply into that, Quintin. Some of that probably may be public, but I'm always very cautious about executive session stuff and discussing that.
Let me reread the Post and Courier article. It goes on to say this: a company controlled by the same developers will also build the county a new social service building across the street from the hospital property and received a $2.45 million fee for doing so. What was that fee, and what was it for?
So Mr. Coggins, who's acknowledged as the developer of the Naval Hospital, if he can do with that he did with the cigar factory and other things downtown, that will be marvelous. So part of the plan is to have him use his expertise to help develop that property across the street for us. So he's essentially our builder. So that's his fee to build that property for us. And when it's done and ready for, remember, it's a hospital, so it's got to have DHEC certification, all that stuff. When he hands us the keys and all the certifications, his fee will be earned. Okay.
And let me turn over to Arndal. What's going on with the park in Arndal? I know that the county bought the property with greenbelt money. Any plans for that property?
The park where, Quintin? I'm sorry.
In Arndal.
There was I'm sorry, down 17 South. That was way down by the county line. No, that just was a greenbelt move.
Okay.
It was a very smart move. It was a very cheap, frankly, to the county move. If you look at the acreage that we preserved, no development will be out there. It's just preserving green space. So it's right out by that. I believe it was right out by the Charleston County line. So way out there. In my opinion, too, moving more of the greenbelt money towards the south side, I think we've preserved a ton up in the north end of the county. I think you're thinking about a property that was in the south portion of the county.
Oh, Arndal.
Now, see, Arndal, at the recent Greenbelt meeting, Quintin?
Yeah, I believe so. It
was a property way in the south portion of the county that we preserved. That was a large tract down there.
Okay. And what's going on with the development across from the airport on Johns Island?
I wouldn't know. You'd have to ask Chairman Summey.
Okay. Any road improvements expected?
What with that?
Yes, sir.
again, you'd have to ask Chairman Summy. I don't know what the Airport Aviation Authority is doing out there.
Okay. And are the county taxpayers still going to be able to pay for all the other road projects, that is?
As I mentioned earlier, our budgetary process, we have not seen we've not seen any. Again, when you budget for zero and you get $1, you're ahead of budget. So
Right.
that's an overly simplistic view of it. But we feel pretty good right now about where we are in our budgetary process. Again, when we did our budget in June of 2020, I remember our calendar year is July 1 through to June 30.
Right.
We kind of thought we were on the backside of this thing. The initial crush was over in the spring. Who knew we'd have this big of a surge again. So we'll just have to see what it looks like. But we'll continue to conservatively budget. Our budgeting staff is longstanding. They were there in 07, 08 during that huge downturn. So they have a lot of experience with this type of budgetary difficulty, I'll say.
Yes, sir. Let me go to Broad Street. Obviously, there's a confusion going on with the France and French folks and the county administration. They want the outsourced outside seating as far as trying to get more people to sit outside. A lot of people don't want to sit inside. The county says it's a safety issue because there's a lot of people trying to get to the courthouse.
Right.
Where's the compromise on this?
Well, I told our county administrator, Quintin, no good deed goes unpunished. And that really is the bottom line. I mean, the owners of the operation came to the county. Our public safety folks recommended against it. Our county attorney recommended against it. But our county administrator wanted to do something to help this business. And so he said, you know what, I'm going to allow it. And it was a 6-month lease, $1 a month, which I frankly don't even know if that $1 a month has been paid. That's neither here nor there. But the lease had a terminus of December 31. There was no expectation of renewal. And so the campaign that they've mounted to make the county attorney seem like the bad guy has really not sat well with most county council members. And that's why I say no good deed goes unpunished. We tried to do something to help this business. And what do you get for it? You get slapped in the face. So I'm sorry. Our courthouse people don't think it's a good idea. Our legal people don't think it's a good idea. You've got to follow that advice at the end of the day.
Would you up that $1 fee if they were to come back to you all with some sort of compromise?
No, I would support our county administrator. If he thinks it's not a good idea, he's the one that's in the weeds and listening to our professional staff. If they think it's not a good idea for any number of reasons, I'm going to support our county administrator. I wouldn't take anything.
If they were to come back to you in January, what would you want to hear from them?
Nothing. The lease is over on December 31. It's over.
Let me turn over to January once again. Obviously, the new Charleston County Council is coming in. Do you want to be chairman?
No, sir. I professionally, I don't have time. I mean, Chairman Summy said it right in a recent interview. It's a full-time job, and I frankly don't have the time. I'm a hard worker. Run several committees at the county, and I'll continue to do that. At some point down the line, if my professional workload lightened, I could take a look at it. But no, I'm going to support Mr. Sass for chairman. I've been very clear about that. Herb has wanted to do it for some time. He's a consensus builder, and I'm going to support him, and we'll see where it falls on January 5.
And do you can hope to continue to be vice chair?
I'm happy to serve if council wants me to. If somebody else wants to take a shot at it, I'm fine with that. I'm happy being a regular council member. I'm happy being in the leadership. Whatever council wants, I'm fine with.
I'm running into my next interview at 10:30. So Brantley Moody, thank you so much for your time. And again,
thanks,
welcome
Quintin.
back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you, sir. See you soon.
Likewise.
Bye-bye.